How to communicate so people actually listen. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling invisible? Like your words didn't matter? Like no one truly heard you? It's frustrating, isn't it? You try harder, you speak more, you repeat yourself, but nothing changes. Here is the truth most people don't realize. People don't ignore you because you have nothing to say. They ignore you because they don't feel connected to what you are saying. Communication is not about speaking louder, it is about speaking in a way that touches the mind and the heart. And once you learn this, you don't just talk, you influence. Number one, stop talking to respond, start talking to connect. Look closely at most conversations today. Two people are talking, but no one is truly listening. Each person is just waiting for their turn, preparing their next sentence while the other is still speaking. And that's why conversations feel empty because connection is missing. Real communication begins the moment you stop trying to prove your point and start trying to understand theirs. When someone speaks, don't just hear their words, observe their emotions, their pauses, their tone. Listen to what they are saying and also what they are not saying. Because behind every sentence, there is a feeling waiting to be understood. And when a person feels deeply heard, something powerful happens. They lower their guard, they trust you, and in that moment, your words gain value. So, don't rush to speak, slow down, listen like it matters, because to the other person it does. Number two, speak less but say more. There is a common mistake people make. They think that talking more will make them more convincing. But think about it, when someone keeps talking without clarity, do you feel more interested or more exhausted? The truth is, too many words create confusion, and confusion kills attention. Powerful communication is not about quantity, it is about precision. It's about choosing words that carry weight, words that are clear, direct, and impossible to ignore. Before you speak, take a moment and ask yourself, what is the one thing I want this person to understand? And then say only that, simply, confidently, and without unnecessary explanation. Because when your words are focused, your message becomes powerful, and when your message is powerful, people listen. Number three, your tone matters more than your words. You can say the right words and still completely fail. Why? Because people don't just listen to your words, they react to your tone. Your tone carries your attitude, your emotions, your intention. You might say, I am just trying to help, but if your tone sounds irritated or superior, the other person won't feel helped, they will feel judged. And the moment people feel judged, they stop listening. But when your tone is calm, respectful, and patient, something changes. People feel safe, and when people feel safe, they open up. They listen without resistance. So, before you focus on saying the perfect sentence, ask yourself, what is the energy behind my words? Because communication is not just about language, it is about how you make someone feel while you are speaking. Number four, make them feel important. Every person you meet is silently asking one question, do I matter? And the way you communicate answers that question. When you interrupt someone, ignore their opinions, or dismiss their thoughts, you send a message you don't matter. And once a person feels that, they stop listening. But when you give them your full attention, when you acknowledge their thoughts, when you say something as simple as I understand or that makes sense, you send a completely different message. You matter. And when people feel important, they don't just listen to you, they respect you. Remember, communication is not about winning a conversation, it is about valuing the other person in front of you. Because people may forget your words, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Number 5, ask, don't order. There is something inside every human being that resists control. The moment you give an order, do this, don't do that, you trigger that resistance. Even if your intention is right, your approach creates distance. But the moment you change your words from commands to questions, everything shifts. Instead of saying you should do this, try asking, what do you think about this idea? Now you are no longer forcing, you are inviting. You are giving the other person a sense of choice, a sense of respect. And when people feel respected, they cooperate, they listen, they engage. Because no one likes to be controlled, but everyone likes to be understood. Number 6, match emotion with logic. Words without emotion feel empty. Emotion without clarity feels confusing. But when you combine both, your message becomes unforgettable. Think about it. If you only present facts, people may understand you, but they won't feel you. And if they won't feel you, they won't remember you. But when you share not just what you think, but also why it matters to you, something deeper happens. Your words becomes real. They become human. For example, instead of saying this is important, say this matters to me, because that one sentence adds emotion to logic. And emotion is what makes people care. When people care, they listen, not because they have to, but because they want to. Number 7, silence is also communication. We often think communication means speaking, but some of the most powerful moments in any conversation come from silence. A pause shows confidence. It shows that you are not desperate to fill every second with words. It gives your message space to breathe, space to be felt. When you speak continuously without pause, your words lose impact. They become noise. But when you pause at the right time, people lean in. They pay attention. They start thinking about what you just said. Silence creates weight, it creates presence. So don't be afraid of quiet moments. Use them, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. At the end of the day, communication is not about how much you say, it is about how deeply you are understood. When you listen with intention, speak with clarity, control your tone, and respect the person in front of you, something changes. People stop ignoring you, they stop interrupting you, they start listening. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. The boy no one listened to. There was a boy named Arjun. He wasn't silent, he wasn't shy. In fact, he spoke a lot. But strangely, no one really listened to him. At home, his parents would nod while looking at their phones. At college, his friends would interrupt him halfway. Even when he tried to share something important, people would lose interest. And slowly, a thought started growing inside him. Maybe what I say doesn't matter. But the truth was far deeper than that. Arjun believed that if people weren't listening, he needed to talk more. So he did. He explained everything in detail, added more words, repeated his points again and again. But the more he spoke, the less people cared. One day, during a group discussion in class, Arjun tried to share his idea. He started speaking fast, jumping from one point to another, trying to prove how right he was. Within seconds, someone cut him off, another person changed the topic. And just like that, his voice disappeared in the noise. He sat there quietly, frustrated, angry, and confused. Why does no one ever listen to me? That evening, Arjun met his old teacher, a calm and observant man. After listening to Arjun's frustration, the teacher didn't immediately give advice. Instead, he asked one simple question: when others speak, do you truly listen? Arjun paused. For the first time, he thought about it. He realized he didn't. While others were talking, he was always preparing his response, waiting for his turn, trying to prove himself. The teacher smiled gently and said, people don't listen to those who just want to be heard. They listen to those who make them feel heard. That sentence stayed with him. The next day, Arjun decided to try something different. Not louder, not smarter, just different. When his friends started talking, Arjun didn't interrupt. He listened fully. He noticed the hesitation in his friend's voice. He noticed the emotion behind the words. And when his friend finished, instead of jumping in with his own story, Arjun said, that sounds really difficult. What happened next? Something changed. His friend looked surprised but continued speaking. For the first time, Arjun wasn't just part of a conversation, he was creating a connection. Days passed and Arjun kept practicing. He stopped speaking too much and started speaking clearly. He controlled his tone, making sure his words felt calm, not rushed. He stopped giving orders and started asking questions. He added feeling to his words instead of just facts. And something incredible happened. People started noticing him, not because he spoke more, but because when he spoke, it meant something. During another class discussion, Arjun waited. He listened to everyone first, and when he finally spoke, his words were simple, calm, and precise. This time, no one interrupted. In fact, everyone was silent. They were listening. That day, Arjun understood something powerful. It was never about speaking louder. It was never about proving himself. It was about connection. Because people don't listen to words, they listen to how those words make them feel. From that day on, Arjun didn't try to impress people with his voice. He focused on understanding them first. And in return, the world finally started listening to him. If you want to master communication, improve your English, and build real confidence in the way you speak, subscribe to Echo English because one powerful conversation can change your life and it starts with you.